Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about the new corrupted dungeons that just hit the test server. Now, in this video we're not going to talk too much about builds because I think it's kind of pointless at this point to make a guide on corrupted dungeon builds because it's not out yet, and whatever guide that I make, it might get changed before corrupted dungeon get released, so it's kind of pointless to talk about builds at this point. But in this video, we'll just talk about how corrupted dungeons work, what does it look like inside, exactly what happens in the corrupted dungeons, and that sort of things. So first, if you want to play corrupted dungeons, you need to find a entrance to the corrupted dungeons, and this is what a corrupted dungeon entrance look like. It's a pile of rocks with these demonic looking markings on them, and there's a red glow coming out of it. When you click on it, it's going to make you select what level of corrupted dungeon you want to enter. So there's 3 different levels available. There's Hunter, Stalker, and Slayer. Hunter leveled corrupted dungeons can only be entered from blue and yellow zones, and they're not full loot inside. And they're gear capped very heavily. There's an 800 IP requirement for entering the corrupted dungeon, and the gear cap for it is at 800 IP with, I believe, a 80% diminished return, so it's like a soft cap, just like Hellgates. And for Stalker, this is like the kind of the beginner level corrupted dungeons that you can enter from red and black zones, and they are also gear cap, but at 900 IP, and also with an 80% diminished return. The last level is called Slayer. This is the highest tier of corrupted dungeons, and you can see right here, actually it tells you enemies inside are tier 8, enemies inside are tier 6, enemies inside are tier 5, right? So the Slayer level is like tier 8. This is the highest level of corrupted dungeon that you can find, and there's a 1200 IP requirement to enter, and the gear cap here is 50% diminished return, not 80% like the other ones. And to enter a Slayer leveled corrupted dungeon, however, you also need 75,000 infamy, which I don't have yet, and I don't think anybody else has it yet at this point because, you know, it's new. Nobody has built up their infamy yet, so I can't show you what that looks like yet. It's probably gonna look the same inside, just with like more difficult mobs. But anyway, we're gonna start going into the Stalker level. And you know, when you click enter, it's just gonna be the same thing as entering a solo dungeon. You just channel at the entrance and you go inside. Now, once you're inside, you'll spawn next to this demonic shrine, and this is how you sign up for PvP inside these corrupted dungeons. If you interact with a shrine, you will start searching for other players' dungeons to invade. Right? You can see right here it says searching for dungeon. If you don't click that shrine, you will not invade other people's dungeons, but other people can still invade you. When you enter the corrupted dungeon, you'll see there's this progression bar on the right side of your screen. You can fill this bar up by killing mobs inside the corrupted dungeon. And once this bar fills up, it will spawn a final boss. And when you kill the boss, you'll be able to loot the chest, and you'll be able to progress to the next dungeon, or you can just go back to the surface. In the corrupted dungeons, there are some new and unique mobs, as well as some old ones that we have seen before. This malicious imp, for example, this is basically the same mob as the ones inside the Hellgate zone, and they do the same thing. They spit fire at you, they slow you, and when you kill them, they blow up and do damage where they die. There are also some new mobs and some new environmental factors in the corrupted dungeons. So the ones to take note of are these little baby demons, and there's 4 different types of these baby demons in the corrupted dungeons. I'm gonna go through every one of them and show you what they do. So first thing you'll notice is the baby demons all have 1 HP. So like any damage to them will just kill them instantly, and when you kill them, they have different effects when they die. So the ones that are resting on the ground like this, the red ones that are resting on the ground like this, will knock you away when you kill them. So like that, right? So you can use this effect in PvP to help you chase or help you escape a fight. The purple ones that are flying in the air like this will drop a cloud when they die that silences players inside the cloud and puts mobs to sleep. Let me show you. So I aggro that mob and I kill this, and you see the mob is being put to sleep and I am silenced. Now this is also something that you can use in PvP. If you're running away from a chaser and you're running through mobs, this is really useful because you can put those mobs to sleep so you don't take damage from them when you run through them. And also the silence, I think, can be used really it can be used really effectively if you're running some kind of auto attack based build, for example a one-hand dagger or a regular bow, or maybe even a trinity spear. You can, like, say you're running a trinity spear, for example, you can root someone on top of that mob and you can just auto attack them while your enemy is silenced. Okay, so these little frog things are also a type of baby demon, and when you kill these things, they spit out this goo on the ground, and the goo doesn't do any damage to you, but it slows down your movement speed by a lot. I will show you. Right, so like it slows you down by a lot, and this is, you know, also really useful for escaping enemies, but also it's good for trapping people onto these like environmental damage factors. And this big old fire thing that you're looking at, by the way, this is just like the lightning trap in Keeper dungeons that you've already seen. The only difference is this is non-targetable. You can't kill this thing. Alright, the last type of baby demon to show is are these flying ones. The red ones that are flying in the air. So there was the purple one flying in the air, and then there was a red one on the ground earlier. Now we have a red one that's flying in the air. And when you kill this thing, it drops a big old demon cape puddle that does damage to everything that stands on it. It does damage to you, to your enemy, and to mobs. I'll show you. I see that one mob there. Well, this one didn't die because it de-aggro, but the other one just died when it was on the fire. And when I'm stepping on it here, you can see how much damage it does. It's a really solid chunk of damage. And again, if you're running some kind of high CC build, that's probably a really good one to use to kill your enemies with. Alright, so besides the spinny fire trap thing like we just showed, we do also have these fireball spitter things that are similar to what we have in the Morgana dungeons right now, but just like the lightning trap, just like the, well, should I call it lightning trap, the laser trap, these ones cannot be targeted or killed. Now what you just saw happen was I just invaded someone's dungeon. So when you invade someone's dungeon, you're just spawning like a random location in their dungeon, and you'll be able to see on the map that there's these obelisks. I think they're called demonic shards or something. When you go there, I'm gonna go there right now so I can show you guys, but basically those are the shards that you need to destroy if you don't want to PvP. Right, so if somebody invades your dungeon and you don't want to fight them, you just want to kick them out of your dungeon, you need to break 3 of these shards. And it's really easy to break them. They're pretty squishy, low HP. So it's pretty easy to kill them. There's one right here, I'll show you. Just go boop, boop, and that's 1 down. So you need to kill 3 of them to banish the invader. And if you're the invader, by the way, you can also banish yourself. Just break 3 of those and you'll be out of there. Now, since we're in here, we might as well try to PvP. Let's try to find the other guy. So there's a few ways you can look for the other person in the dungeon. As you can tell, there's red dots on the dungeon, like on the dungeon map, that shows you where the mobs are. So if you see any of these dots disappear, that should tell you that, you know, a mob has been killed by the other player, and you'll be able to tell where they are. And also, if a obelisk comes under attack, I'll show you on the other one, but like if one of the obelisks gets hit, it will show on the map. Like there'll be like cross swords on the obelisk on the map. And if the final boss is spawned and someone aggroes the boss will also indicate that it's been aggroed. There's also a type of demon that spawns in the dungeon when someone invades, and only when someone invades. I call it the marker demon, but what it does is basically if it spots you, it will mark you on the map. If I run into one of those, I'll show you what it looks like. But here's the other obelisk. I'm just gonna put it into combat, and you can see here on the map that it's got little crossword icons on it to show that someone just hit it. Right, so you can tell if like if the other guy is trying to get out of this dungeon, you'll be able to tell where they are. And actually, since I just revealed my location, this guy just came to me. It's running claws. Oh, let me get out of that. Okay. He's doing a lot of damage to me. Let me just kite this guy out. Oh, I'm running into mobs here. Let's turn around. He's running Guardian Brew, so I should be able to just keep kiting him. Hellion Jack hit, that's not gonna do anything, because we're way out of range. I'm gonna stay out of range. Guardian Hellion for the heal. Okay, that's getting close. Okay, let me use my levitate now. By the way, levitate actually, like, they did nerf levitate this patch, but it still heals you for a decent amount. And I think if you're running it with a weapon that has a lot of mobility, so like people can't hit you while you're channeling, I think it's still somewhat usable. So that's why I'm using it right now. Okay, he's using, well, he just died to the trap. I was gonna say, like, he's doing that, I could just purge it with my E, but never mind, he just killed himself. Alright, he didn't even craft good gear. I don't know what that was. Anyway, let's move on then. Okay, so I'm gonna splice this little clip in here because I think we need a little more time to talk about the shards. So, like I said earlier, if you want to banish whoever is invading you, you can just break 3 out of these 5 shards that spawns on the map, and you'll be able to banish your invader. If you are the invading player and you find the other guy and you realize that he's playing some build that just hard counters yours, you could also break 3 of these shards yourself and you'll be able to banish yourself. Right, so this way like, my biggest worry for 1v1s in this game was basically to just be like playing rock, paper, and scissors with their build. Like, if you just get matched against someone that hard counters your build, you won't be able to win no matter what. Well, with these shards, it actually gives you an option to not fight, right? So if you lose the rock, paper, scissors and you get matched against someone that's really just hard countering your build, well, you have a chance here to escape them by breaking these shards. Now, this does mean that if you play a mobility build, it will be super safe for you because it'll be easier for you to get around the map and break those shards and get yourself out of trouble. But a lot of mobility weapons are not very good at the PvE aspect of the game. In corrupted dungeons, and actually after the patch, even in Hellgates, you will no longer be able to swap your gear as long as you're in the instance. So if you go into a corrupted dungeon with something like a double-bladed staff, like, yeah, you'll be really safe, but your farming will be very slow, right? So there's that to think about as well. But it is true that if you don't want to PvP, you can still grind corrupted dungeons with a mobility build, and you never have to kill anybody. You can just get all of your infamy by killing mobs and only killing mobs, and you will still be able to get good reward uh, from corrupted dungeons as long as you don't die to other players. So in a sense, you can say it's kind of like ratting in 2v2 Hellgates. So this is still, something that is possible in corrupted dungeons, right? Just avoiding PvP completely and just going after the rewards. Alright, so we're back in our own dungeon after we kill the guy. So yeah, like if you invade another dungeon and you're successful in killing the other guy, you'll be teleported back to your own dungeon, and you will not invade again, and I don't think you can be invaded either right after like you've already done some PvP. So there is kind of like a pacing to the PvP in this game. It's like you go into PvP and then I'm pretty sure you're guaranteed to like have safe farm for the rest of this dungeon, and then when you continue to the next dungeon, you will be able to engage in PvP again. Alright, so we're just gonna start killing mobs and fill up this progression bar right here, and then I'll be able to show you what the final boss look like. Okay, while we are just farming here, we should also talk about the whole infamy system. So when you kill mobs in Corrupted Dungeon, you will get some points called infamy points. And actually, like everything you do in the Corrupted Dungeon, when you kill mobs, when you pick up silver, when you kill another player, they all give you infamy points. Your infamy points is kind of like a ranking system. So if you have a certain amount of infamy in PvP, you should only get matched up with other players who have similar amount of infamy as you. So that way you can get these like 1v1 fair fights, and you won't be fighting against people that's been doing corrupted dungeons for 2 years when you've just started doing corrupted dungeons. Infamy also decides how much reward you get from corrupted dungeons. So the higher infamy you have, the more fame and the more loot you get from corrupted dungeons. When you die in PvP, you also lose a portion of your infamy, and the player that killed you will gain a portion of your infamy. Okay, so here's the final boss room. This boss room is always there, by the way. Like even before you fill up the progression bar, you'll see this room and you see the chest there. You just can't interact with the chest until you actually kill this boss. And this boss only spawns when you fill up the progression bar. Right, so this boss, by the way, like 90% of his damage is dodgeable. Like it's all just AoEs on the ground, except for this beam thingy. I can't really dodge that. But like everything else, you just walk around and you dodge it all, and you weaving auto attacks, so kill him. Whoops, I should have just stood there. Whatever, it didn't do that much damage. Okay, big fire everywhere. Wait, that didn't hit him? Huh. Yeah, so I know I said I don't want to talk about builds too much, but I think it's really nice to run like Guardian Helmet and Cultist Robot. Maybe you don't need the Cultist Robot. Like the Guardian Helmet is super nice because like I said, you can't change gear once you get inside the corrupted dungeons, so you can't use health regen food. So I think having a little healing from that Guardian Helmet is really nice for clearing the dungeons. And of course, it helps you in PvP too, right? Alright, so there we go, he's dead, and once he's dead, you can loot the chest now. Pretty bad loot because it's test server and nobody's selling anything to the black market here, so loot's terrible. But anyway, you'll get the chest opened, and then this portal opens, and you can choose between whether you want to go back to the surface or you go to the next dungeon. Right, so I think I'm done recording for this video, so I'm gonna go back to the surface. But if you were never mind, I'll go back to the surface later. I just want to show you that if you click on the next dungeon, you will literally just go into another corrupted dungeon where you will spawn right next to this demonic shrine again, right? But you see the layout is, it's randomized, so it's a different layout. Still gonna be the same deal though. You just kill the mobs, fill the progression bar, and go to the next dungeon. Right, so this way you can just keep farming these dungeons. You never have to leave the dungeon to look for another one. Alright, so now I think I've recorded everything. Oh, there's one more thing to show you guys, and you can A out of these dungeons, but just like normal. But as you can see, it takes forever to do it. So the best way to get out of this dungeon is to just kill the boss and hit surface, and you just go out of there. But if for whatever reason you don't want to do that, or you can't do that, you can press A and you'll get out. Yeah, maybe like if you down to mobs a few times and you gear break or something, you can just press A and get out. It'll just take a while. Alright, so I think that's all I'm gonna say for this video. When Corrupted Dungeon actually comes out to the live servers, I'll definitely be making some build guides for it. At this moment though, there's no point in doing that because it's all still test server. Like all these new weapons that we have, they're all on the test server and they can change at any point, right? So there's no point to make builds for, at least there's no point to make build guides for it right now. So we're gonna be streaming more Corrupted Dungeon stuff, or we're gonna be like testing builds, or actually my goal right now is to get my infamy level up so I can go see what the high level, what do they call it, the Slayer level, the Corrupted Dungeons look like, and see like what kind of fame and rewards we can get out of that. And I'll be streaming that, so my Twitch, as always, will be down there in the video descriptions below. If you can catch me, I stream every day from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern United States time. Hope to see you guys on Twitch.